What's up, crypto fam? Welcome back to my Kadena whiteboard mini-series. In this mini-series, I'm going to help you understand every aspect about the Kadena blockchain from a first principles standpoint. In today's video, we're going to talk about why layer 1 proof-of-stake blockchains are all centralized in nature, and no matter how you look at it, they will never receive institutional adoption. So let's start with the elephant in the room. In proof-of-stake blockchains, the number of coins that you own dictates your voting power in the network. What that means is when the blockchain wants to make changes to the code, they need to take a vote. These votes could be something very serious like changing the max supply or changing how treasury funds are allocated. So imagine if the United States of America was running an election and instead of one citizen having one vote, what if you could get more voting power based off the amount of dollars that you had locked in your savings account? Just think about that for a minute. Imagine how much voting power somebody like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos would have in that election. That's exactly how proof-of-stake blockchains operate. So anytime the blockchain has some new proposal that they need to pass, you see the team can easily see how many coins that they need to own in order to win any vote that they put on the table. They can track every coin and every wallet on their blockchain. They can easily see what wallets vote, what wallets don't vote, what wallets always vote in favor of their proposals, and which ones don't. You see, retail investors don't stand a chance. They might make it look like your vote counts, but in reality, the house always wins. Now, let's take that a step farther. Imagine how upset you would be if the amount of dollars in your savings account equaled your voting power in the next election and the government let employees who work at the Federal Reserve vote. I mean, really think about it. How much voting power do you think Jerome Powell would have when he controls the money printer? I don't think any citizen in the United States would even bother voting. I mean, would you if that was the case? I don't think so. Not when Jerome Powell just prints more money and gives himself all the voting power in the world. Now, what if Jerome Powell, Elon Musk, and Jeff Bezos were all going to vote the same way? Do you think the middle class would stand a chance? I don't think so. In proof-of-stake blockchains, the teams get to vote, and they are the ones who control the crypto money printer. How can you say any proof-of-stake blockchain has a fair voting process when most of the teams pre-mine 20% of their supply for themselves, and they pre-mine another 40% of coins which they sold to VCs and early investors? Imagine if Jerome Powell put 20% of all US dollars into his bank account, and then he told us that he just submitted a new proposal that he wanted y'all to vote on. How messed up would that be? It's pretty freaking crazy that no one is talking about this, and the mainstream crypto media outlets try shilling proof-of-stake blockchains like they are the greatest thing since sliced bread. Why is that? Could there be ulterior motives that most retail investors are not aware of? I think so. Let me explain. So in proof-of-stake blockchains, they don't have miners. They have what are called validators. Validators do the exact same thing that miners do. Validators process transactions and they mint blocks. Miners process transactions and they mine blocks, not mint them. Every time a new block is minted on a proof-of-stake blockchain, the validator is rewarded with coins. Well, guess who runs those validators on proof-of-stake blockchains? Most of the time, it's the founding team members or the big VCs, or both. If you have not yet had a chance to check out my Kadena whiteboard mini-series, you should watch the Kadena tokenomic video so you can understand the drastic difference between Kadena and other layer 1 blockchains. It will really blow your mind. Links are down in the description. Okay, now let me break this down so you can understand this better. Let's pretend like the United States started their own proof-of-stake blockchain called USA Chain. Now, just like all proof-of-stake blockchains, they need to fund the project and incentivize smart people to help them build the blockchain. So if we review the top 20 layer 1 proof-of-stake blockchains and we take an average, they gave 15% of coins to their team, 45% of coins were sold to VCs and early investors, 10% of coins go to the foundation, 10% of coins go to the treasury, and 10% were sold to public. And they also set another 10% of coins aside for exchange listings and liquidity. So let's take an average and say most proof-of-stake blockchains launch with a circulating supply of 100 million coins. So if USA Coin had a total supply of 100 million coins, that would mean 15 million coins were given to the team, 45 million coins were sold to VCs, 10 million coins went to the treasury, which is also controlled by the team, another 10 million coins went to the foundation, which is also controlled by the team, 10 million coins were given to exchanges to list their coin, and only 10 million coins were sold to the public. Then the remaining coins, aka the inflation rate, gets given out as block rewards every time a block is minted. So imagine if we launched USA Coin and the starting circulating supply was 100 million coins. Well, to incentivize validators to secure the network, we need to pay them. This is where block rewards come into play on proof-of-stake blockchains. They have these crazy high inflation rates. Let's use Polkadot for an example. According to Messari, Polkadot's inflation rate is 9.99%. Do you guys understand what that means? That means that Polkadot blockchain is printing more coins by the second, and they are giving those coins to the people that are running validators. Again, the question you should be asking is, who is running these validators? If you look at most proof-of-stake blockchains, it's the team, VCs, or exchanges who are running the validators. Just think about it like Jerome Powell. If Jerome Powell is running the fiat validator, and every time somebody spent or used $1, Jerome Powell got an extra $1 printed and put into his bank account, how would you feel about that? I mean, just think about how upset you are right now with the fact that you're paying 35% a year in taxes, you pay 7% in sales tax every time you buy something, and to top it off, the inflation rate is 20%. That means every $1 you make, the government takes 60 to 65% of that in taxes. Proof-of-stake blockchains are legit the same exact thing. When the Ethereum merge takes place and they switch to proof-of-stake, they will start paying validators for minting blocks. That means that every time a new block of Ethereum is minted, more coins of Ethereum are released into supply, which depreciates the price of your Ethereum. And on top of that, the validators are going to charge you a gas fee for processing the transaction. What in the heck are you paying a $50 Ethereum gas fee for if the blockchain is awarding validators with free Ethereum every time they mint a block? I mean, how is that any different than the government taxing you 35% a year when the inflation rate is 20%? I mean, they really got you coming and going. I mean, you almost just have to laugh about it. On Kadena, gas fees are 1/1000th of a penny. If you wouldn't bend over to pick a penny up off the sidewalk, well, then I guess we consider gas is free on Kadena. The reason gas is free on Kadena is because the Kadena blockchain rewards miners with Kadena every time they mine a block. It's really that simple. These other blockchains convince you that they need to have a 10 or 25 cent per transaction gas fee so validators will secure the network. But that's just crazy. Validators cost nothing to run. They legit use less electricity than a cell phone charger. They cost nothing to build, and you never have to upgrade your equipment. But yet they get free coins every time a block is minted, and they charge you 10 to 25 cents per transaction every time you need to use the network. Just look at Ethereum. When Bored Ape Yacht Club launched and was doing their epic land sale, if you wanted to send $10 in Ethereum, it would cost you $1,000 in Ethereum gas fees just to send $10 in Ethereum. Who in their right mind would ever use that network? Ethereum maxis, and that's about it. In proof-of-stake blockchains, the team and the VCs control the money printer because they run the network. And the amount of coins that they own dictates their voting power in the network. Don't believe me? Let's check out these crypto rich lists really quick. These are top layer 1 blockchains and what percentage of coins are held by the top 100 wallet addresses. On Polkadot, 67.29% of coins are held by the top 100 wallet addresses. Solana, 30.82%. Avalanche, 70.51%. Cardano, 19.1%. Polygon, 87.51%. And Cosmos, 99.08% of coins are held by the top 100 wallet addresses. That means 100 different wallets on Cosmos control 99.08% of coins out in circulation. Do you really think your vote's going to count in any of those networks? I mean, just think about if Jerome Powell and the World Economic Forum owned 70% of US dollars, and that gave them 70% of the voting power in the United States. How in the heck would you ever consider that decentralized? You can't ever, no matter how hard you try to break it down. Cardano has done the best out of all proof-of-stake blockchains, but you don't know if Charles has 100 different wallets with the max coins that give him the max voting power per one wallet. You just can't say. Michael Saylor owns 1% of Bitcoin, and yeah, that would definitely suck if he started selling and dumped all of his Bitcoin. But the amount of Bitcoin that he owns doesn't give him any voting power in the network. Michael Saylor owns $500,000 of Bitcoin, and I own 1.5 Bitcoin. Guess who has more voting power? Trick question, gotcha. neither of us have any voting power. In proof-of-work blockchains, it's the miners who control the voting power. Code is law, and miners enforce the law. How many times has a proof-of-stake blockchain made changes to the code or passed votes that you never even knew took place? HBAR Exchange did just that. They had a max supply of 100 billion coins. The founders and team ran out of money, so one day they increased the max supply to 2.3 billion. They gave themselves an extra 1.3 billion coins, which they then sold off in the open market and tanked the price. In proof-of-stake blockchains, validators enforce the law, but the validators are ran by team members and the big VCs. And that is what you call major counterparty risk. If you don't believe me, try to contact HBAR Foundation and ask them if you could set up a validator. From my understanding, this is the list of organizations that run validators for HBAR. Verizon, Google, IBM, and the list goes on. That means that anytime you use the HBAR network and you pay gas fees, it goes to one of these companies. That also means that when HBAR releases more coins into circulation every month, those coins go to these companies. That means that they can dump these new coins into the open market every month and take profits without needing to ever sell any of their initial investment. This is why people say that HBAR is centralized. They say who can and cannot run a validator. I'm sure you've heard of the term permission or permissionless networks. On HBAR, you need permission to run a validator and earn your percentage of the network rewards. On Bitcoin or Kadena, I don't need your permission to run a miner. I also don't need to buy any coins of Bitcoin or Kadena to do so. I can take my fiat currency, I can buy a miner, and I can earn my share of the network rewards. I don't need any of your coins or your permission to do so. That's one of the biggest differences in proof of work versus proof of stake blockchains. When Ethereum switches to proof of stake, you will need to own 32 coins of Ethereum to run a validator. Ethereum was $2,000 this week, so you would need roughly $65,000 to run an Ethereum validator, and that prices out 99% of retail investors. That means that the big VCs and team members like Vitalik, who own 350,000 coins of Ethereum, are going to make a majority of those network rewards. I tried to do some random calculations based off Vitalik's bag to see how much Ethereum he would be making when they switch to proof of stake, and if I'm right, Vitalik could make about $58 million in 2023 just by staking and running an Ethereum validator when they switch to proof of stake. I mean, why do you think they want to switch to proof of stake so bad, and why do you think they didn't remove the gas fees after they made the switch? Pretty sketchy if you ask me. On Avalanche, you need 2,200 coins of AVAX to run a validator, and in November when AVAX was $100, that means to set up an Avalanche validator, you would have needed $220,000. Rumor also has it that 50 validators on the Solana ecosystem process 90% of transactions. I also heard that you need roughly $1 million worth of Solana to run a validator or you're going to lose money. And who do you think runs those Solana validators? Better yet, how much money do you think the original team and VCs have made by running validators on the Solana network? Taking a look at this chart by Masari, we can see that Solana validators will make 191 million coins of Solana over the next 4 years. If Solana goes back up to $300 per coin, the validators would get paid $57 billion in Solana over the next 4 years. Taking a look at the pyramid on the screen, you can see how it dictates proof-of-stake blockchains. Look at Vitalik and the DAO on top. Right above them, you see a big bag of pre-mined Ethereum. Below that, you see the Ethereum Foundation. And at the very bottom, you see retail investors. Proof-of-stake blockchains are designed to make the team and day one investors super rich while at the same time sucking money from retail investors. Just think about how much money they make. Think about it like this. If you wanted to manipulate retail investors to pump your own bags, do you think you would care about spending $10,000 to pay a crypto media outlet to publish an article that tries to convince retail investors why proof of work blockchains need to switch to proof of stake or they'll eventually die? Why do you think Solana CEO Anatoly Yakovenko published this article last month? Solana co-founder believes Bitcoin needs to change to proof of stake consensus to remain relevant. You see, these CEOs have made so much money off their crypto pyramids that they have the money to pay crypto media outlets to publish articles like this, or they have the clout so these crypto media outlets will just publish them to have something to talk about. Now, I'm not saying Anatoly paid to have this article published, but I am saying he definitely has the money and connections to do so if he wanted. And that's the biggest problem in this industry. The tech is so far above everyone's head, 99% of retail investors believe what they read. They can try to do their own research, but unless you're willing to spend hundreds of hours doing the research, they will never understand that they are being manipulated. Bitcoin doesn't need to do anything. And the last thing Bitcoin needs to do is switch to proof of pyramid to stay relevant. But that's definitely not what the crypto media outlets want you to believe. At least that's my opinion anyways. So again, do your own research, and while you're at it, smash that like button and smash that subscribe button, please and thank you. You see, exchanges love proof-of-stake blockchains. They are brilliant. These exchanges have giant bags of every coin that's traded on their exchange. If I was Coinbase or Binance, I would make it a mandatory requirement that your company allows my company to run a validator, or else I'd never list your coin. That means that all day, every day, these exchanges run validators, and they pretty much have endless altcoin money printers. Same with the mainstream crypto media outlets. Why do you think they talk up all these proof-of-stake blockchains? Well, if I had to guess, I would assume that they got a giant bag and they're running validators. If I owned a major crypto media outlet, my rates would be $10,000 for a headline news article. And I'm pretty sure that's the going rate in the industry. If a big layer 1 product wanted some headline media news, I would accept payment in their coin. I would charge them enough to set up a validator, and once I have my validator up and running, I'd happily shield their project. It's a win-win. They get free media coverage, and I get a giant bag of coins, and I can make bank with my new crypto money printer. That means that they can constantly dump all of their new coins that they make every month running their validator and never have to sell any of their HODL portfolio. You see, the richest players in the crypto industry are the ones who control the media and the ones who control the exchanges. Therefore, they hate on all proof-of-work blockchains because the only people who are awarded coins in proof-of-work blockchains are the miners who do the work. The miners have to spend money on electricity, and they must buy new mining equipment every 3 to 4 years. And running a mining farm is very time-consuming, and it requires a lot of overhead warehouse space. That's where the skin in the game theory comes from. And if you hadn't had a chance to check out Breedlove's content, you should check him out. I'll leave a link to one of my favorite videos down in the description. He explains this very, very well. Do you ever watch Fox News and then watch CNN and think to yourself, wow, this is all scripted BS. None of this is worth watching because every news station has their own outside agenda? The crypto space is no different. People ask me all the time, if Kadena is so amazing, why is everybody not talking about it? Great question. Well, in my opinion, when you finally realize that Kadena is the future, no one is going to use any of these proof-of-stake pyramids. It's really that simple. Why would anyone pay 10 cents for a gas fee to use AVAX when they can build the same app on Kadena where gas is free? Why would anybody pay 25 cents per transaction to use Cardano when they can use Kadena for free? I mean, check this out. If you owned a hot dog stand outside of a stadium and you sold hot dogs for $1, let's say you sell 1,000 hot dogs a night. That means that you would do 1,000 transactions per day. On the Cardano blockchain, you would spend $250 per day. On Kadena, that same business would only spend 1 penny. If that same hot dog stand was open for 365 days a year, that business would cost $91,250 to run on Cardano. That same business on Kadena would cost $3.65. But you'll never hear any mainstream crypto media outlets pointing out the points I just made in this video. You won't see any big exchanges giving blockchains like Kadena the spotlight that they gave Solana until it's so undeniable that they have no choice. I mean, think about it. Why would any of them do that? They would lose all of their crypto money printers. If you had a money tree growing in your backyard and all you had to do was water it for the next 10 years and it would constantly print you money every day, would you ever stop watering it? Would you ever chop it down? No? Okay then. This is why every one of the big media outlets will try to discredit Kadena, and therefore every big influencer who just force-fed you Solana or any one of these proof-of-stake pyramid blockchains will never admit that Kadena is the future, because if they do so, then that means that they must admit that Solana or whatever other blockchain they were shilling is useless. And don't forget that these videos are all just my opinion. Nothing said about any proof-of-stake blockchain in this video should be taken as fact, and you should always do your own research to confirm that the information in this video is accurate. Proof-of-stake blockchains can change themselves and the staking requirements at any time, and the data is so confusing, it's hard to tell what's what. The purpose of this video is just to give you a general idea of how blockchains function and why proof-of-stake blockchains will never get institutional adoption. No big legacy bank is ever going to use a proof-of-stake blockchain where at any time they could take a vote and freeze the bank's wallet. If you had never read up on the Solana meltdown, Check it out. They took a vote to freeze a whale wallet, and someone on the team bought an extra 700,000 votes so they were guaranteed to win the vote. I mean, it's pretty crazy to think about how hard these crypto media outlets work to hide this type of information and make retail investors think that proof-of-stake blockchains are actually decentralized. This is why most influencers won't talk about Kadena. The Kadena community is by far the most educated community in crypto history. The Kadena blockchain is so advanced that once you start learning about it, you get addicted. And once you're addicted, you can't stop yourself from learning more. If this is your first time watching one of my Kadena videos, do yourself a favor and start comparing Kadena versus any other crypto you hold in your wallet. Then come back in a few weeks and drop some comments below and let me know what you think. So if you want to learn more about making generational wealth or investing in crypto, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, and come join us live on my second YouTube channel. Good vibes always, crypto fam.